Hello everybody and welcome to the Stanley Parable. This is going to be me going through it in one shot, okay? Uh, this is a bit like the Chamber video, except Miranda's not here.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
This is the Stanley Parable. Now, I'm going to try and do every ending to this game. The first one we could do by simply locking ourselves in this room.
Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure.
I'm not going to try and talk.
To make a decision.
I'm not going to try and talk over the narrator because
he had never been trained for that. No, this couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive.
Soon,
very soon now, this will
is the end.
He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do.
Now
it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
And that's ending number 1, as you can see here. Alright, ending 2. Ending 2.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were.
Ending 2 requires us to find a computer.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
The worst part about this is I have almost every achievement, so whenever I try and do an achievement, it's not going to happen. So normally there would be an achievement for doing 437, and then they would do this whole big workout thing, but it didn't happen because I already did it. So at this point, we're just going to continue following the narrator's instructions.
When Stanley came to a set of 2
or
open doors,
not.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
So I'm going to do...
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
I was going to say, I'm going to do some of the endings I know how to do first, and then I'm going to try and... I'm probably going to have to wiki them.
Business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Now... No, we're going to hold up on the confusion ending, so we're just going to go straight.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
Shut up.
I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for her.
This
This
one.
is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
I'm half tempted to
She's
mute
been
him
waiting.
because I want to talk. I'm just gonna say this is one of the more psychedelic endings. It's also one of the funnier ones. Alright, let's go.
That's her, Stanley. Oh,
No, you can't.
Did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me
I'm so
double-check.
unprofessional. I have pretzels.
No, it's definitely
Definitely
here,
clear as day.
Stanley
Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits.
Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices?
Wait.
What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch.
Honestly, this would probably be better suited for the last.
So we can educate
Or one of the
you
last
properly
two.
on safe
Safety,
decision-making in the
very
real
world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice.
Yes.
It's the best part of being a real person, but if used incorrectly can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that
So
unlike
darkly
here, the
comedic.
real world makes sense, and at no
Yeah,
time
right,
should you
yeah,
make
yeah,
a choice that does not
make
conform to
your
rational
tail,
logic.
so
If you find yourself speaking with a person who
Well,
does
it's
not make sense,
sense.
in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Practice. No, shut up.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day.
Do you make more than 8? Less?
And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant.
True,
And the feeling
it's also
should
quite
subside.
sad, but
At this
it's true.
time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Oh boy.
Well,
As you
you may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Oh, I can't even open the door anymore. Yeah, we're just gonna ignore if that ever happened. Okay. This.
Now that we know your
Hey,
choices
are
are
meaningful,
meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying.
I'm still find a way.
The main character
Dying
senselessly
essentially halfway through the story.
That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Did I not mention this yet? This game breaks down video game narrative. We'll probably be doing Half-Life later. By the way, you can't jump in this game. That's actually an achievement. You can't jump.
Almost there.
There.
You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Nah, I gotta do the other 14 endings.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave
exactly
exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that?
Oh,
Quickly,
geez.
hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Okay. I'll probably just be laughing. Yeah, no, that's not cool.
It's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked
That
about.
was interesting.
My story. You've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
And that's ending 2. Oh, God.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
Oh, God, it's gonna continue.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I have a feeling this is going to continue until I go left. Or it might already be ruined, maybe. No, it is not.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
And that's an interesting pyramid. The broom closet. Okay, we'll get that one next time, boys.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
This is a bathroom, I think. Oh well. This is a lavatory.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, Unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Do I have to speak it because it's not working? Help. Night Shark 115.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
I can't actually do anything. I appear...
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
See, the problem here is that it's not working, so...
Okay, fine, you're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward.
Cut.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on the left.
Sorry, I think we got two endings.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me?
No, that's not the end of the video.
All right.
That's just...
Stanley, this is important.
Yeah, okay. Begin the game again. Yep. Alright. Let's...
Okay. Stanley.
Alright. Extras. Saves. Back. Alright, we need to do something advanced. I don't know if you can see it, but I just got an achievement unlocked. Achievement, anyway.
Simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had...
I see, the problem is I'm trying to actually do the thing. But I can't because I can't access cheats. Options, extras, edit keys, use item. Oh. I can't actually use the thing. I'm clicking the button I set the thing, but it's not working. Okay, let's try it with it. Different, 9, I guess. Okay. Oh. And I accidentally quit the game. Okay. Well, time to restart it, and, hope to God it shows up. Hang on. It didn't show up for some reason. No, we don't need to see that. And we open that up, and it didn't work. Oh, never mind. No, it did work. Okay. Sorry, you just saw my Steam for just a tiny sec. Click.
This is the...
Alright. I did it again. I almost did it a second time.
This is...
Alright. For the record.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible?
Where's the input
They
one?
never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
I don't know. I'm grasping at straws for this cheat ending where I don't want to describe it because, like, you know, game purity or whatever. But we're gonna do the confusion ending, I guess, because I can't find any of the input computers, which means it's probably in the.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
The input computer is probably in the boss's office. Oh well, I'll go find it. And
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
So we're just gonna
Stanley
walk
decided to go
briskly
up to his boss's
until-
office. Hoping
That's
he might
another
come
ending
into a
down there.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
So, and here should be input. Nope, input is not there either. Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
There is also an achievement for completing this game in under 4.5 minutes, I think. So we're also going to be attempting that. So, you know, standard things.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
One of these opens up.
It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
That's not ominous at all.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
The thing about this game is that it's very narrative focused, so I can't really do a lot of speaking.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For
I have turned it off. And that should be a cinematic.
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life
That's all very well and good, Mr. Narrator, but what would you...
And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
I mean, if it would let me, but...
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
This is a game about choice, if you haven't noticed. Now let's mess with him. Let's find the input.
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
Oh, that was nice. This guy's desk is literally a pencil sharpener. Anyway. Here we shall be doing the confusion ending thing. Waiting input. Alright. Input receive. Alright. Well, let's do right
When
first.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Okay, I've just
Yes,
had a thought.
truly a room worth admiring.
Shut
But
up,
eager
shut
to
up,
get
shut
back
up,
to
shut up.
business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I've just had a thought. Why don't we go by... I'm going to do it by room. So, this room.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he
There
wasn't
are
5 years ago.
3 more endings in this room. One of which is this.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Anyway, we're going to do the 2 other endings, which is, you know, not turning off the phone
All
and
of his
something
co-workers
else
were
in that
gone.
room. And then we'll
Did
do
it
the
mean?
confusion ending.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
You're going to be seeing those opening lines a lot. So, and then we go
When Stanley
right,
came to a
and then
set
we
of
go
two open
straight,
doors. This
and then
was
straight
not the
again.
correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Little fun fact, there is a county called
Wow.
Stanley.
Yes.
It's in North Carolina.
This room.
It's spelled with
What a
without
fun
an
eager
E
to get
for
back to
some
business,
reason.
Stanley took
It is
the
one of
first open
100
door
counties
on
in
his
North
left.
Carolina. Yes, 100. Anyway, yeah,
Stanley was so bad
so
at
we're gonna
following
do
directions,
the other
it's
phone
incredible he
ending.
wasn't 5 years ago.
we're gonna do the other phone ending. So we're gonna let this
Stanley,
go.
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
That's
I
not my
realize that
life.
investing your trust in someone else can be difficult,
good.
but the fact is that the
Yeah,
story
yeah,
has been
yeah,
about
yes,
nothing but
indeed,
you
this
all
whole
this
time.
time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me,
I'm not
I'm
asking for
her.
her. Oh, are we up there? Yes, we are. Okay.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
I'm gonna just cut you. I'm gonna stop you right there because I want to do this in as little time as possible. Oh, how ironic.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
Interesting.
The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
This is depressing. Let's continue.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
You know what? I'm not going to do it. Because, this seems very depressing. How long is this going to last? I'm going to enjoy some pretzel. Because I like pretzel. He's not going to come back, is he?
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps Maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Well, I guess that's the end of that ending. So let's go do the other one with that storage room sort of thing.
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
Strange. Alright, time for the other backroom ending. Or maybe I'll do the rocket ending. Yes, the rocket ending.
When Stanley came to a set of two,
Yeah,
look,
no.
this was not the correct
We're gonna
way to the
complete this
meeting room,
end.
and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Alright. Well, no. We're gonna do
Stanley
that.
was so bad at following
I think there's a
directions, it's
disco.
incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I need to turn this down, don't I? Audio. Okay, I guess we're gonna restart that entire thing because I am bad. Oh well. Maybe
All
we'll
of
do
his
the broom
coworkers
claw.
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of
No.
the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit...
And begin the game again. Because I'm gonna be as rude as possible to him. Now, weird thing is, I don't think YouTube actually checks
All
for,
of his coworkers were... Wait,
no, this isn't the right office.
is it? Is this
It's Stanley's office. Maybe we'll do some Civilization European Versailles.
When Stanley came to a set
I like how he
of
questions
this
it
was
and
not
never
the correct
brings
way
it
to
up
the meeting
again.
room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Nope.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
This video is taking up 16.5% of my
Stanley
CPU
was so
at
bad
30
at following
FPS.
directions, it's incredible
This
he
is
wasn't 5 years
wonderful.
ago.
Anyway, I should probably be keeping a list of what
Stanley,
endings
I think
I've
perhaps
done.
We've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really. I'm not. I
I'm not
realize
sure
that
why an
investing
office
your
would
trust
have
in
this,
someone
but
else can be difficult. But the fact is that the story has been about nothing but what? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why? I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
this
Give me
is
a chance.
not the
Now
disco
listen
ending.
carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley all right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map. Because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better?
Ah, yes.
What did you
The
want
video
to
game
see?
ending.
Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
I might actually put chapters on this video.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one.
Let me open the door. That's new. Missing developer texture lighting fixtures notwithstanding. 2. I've not been at this for 7.5 hours. That's just rude.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on. And now would be a
Maybe
lovely
something will
opportunity
be
to give
more
it some
effective than
playtesting.
this.
You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Yay!
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
This reminds me of a game called Who's Your Daddy? I'll just pause it here so I can explain this. This reminds me of a game I used to play called Who's Your Daddy? You might remember it making the YouTube circles. Dad tries to keep baby from killing itself. Baby tries to kill itself. It was a very weird game. Interesting purple object aside. Strange rubber. I don't care. But we're going to resume.
You heartless bastard.
Nah.
You do it because you hate
It is
babies,
so
or
purely
purely
to spite me.
Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do.
I'm
I'm completely
completely
out
out
of
of
ideas.
ideas.
I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for you. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain.
It's a lot worse without Miranda here because I can only talk to my thoughts.
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Maybe I'll do Portal. But I already know my way through Portal, so like.
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley.
You could tell this game came out in 2012 because it's such an old version of
From
Minecraft.
now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then... Let's does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley.
As a note, as a Minecraft player, no.
Look at it.
No.
Gaze
No, no,
upon
no, no,
my
no,
work
no.
of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy.
Oh my.
But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Okay, Mr. Dude. Oh god, you can actually hear the music.
My, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
This was the old Minecraft texture pack as well. No, I have not. Oh well. Yeah, you can actually still see where you're going, even in very dark places. So we're just gonna...
No. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Hey, Minecraft. Ooh, this is actually another source game.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
You can't even portal, so it's like, okay, well, I guess we'll lower...
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius.
I do actually know how to play Portal, so...
No, actually, you know what?
I think that's plenty.
I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games. And I...
Welcome to the beta. 86 filing cabinet. Can I do the video chat? Alright, well, we're gonna go through here, I guess. Now, I am... Now we're in the black nothing. Oh, we're in the old version. Yeah, it's quite dark. I guess we're gonna go this direction. As a bit of mod history, the Stanley Parable started out as a mod for Half-Life 2 using the Source engine. I do believe this is what it's a reference to. So I have a feeling we're gonna get out into City 17, or we'll find the old office. Complete with the regular. Yeah, that's like an actual Half-Life 2 prop, so we're gonna go the other direction. Or it can stop. That works too.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Alright. Ending number I forgot. Let's do this. Alright, where's the other input?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So it's around here somewhere. Alright. It is time for the confusion ending. Or it's not. It does there.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open
Sometimes
rooms,
it does
this was
that.
not
Sometimes
the
it randomly
meeting
generates
room,
rooms
Stanley knew it
and
perfectly
starting
well.
positions.
Perhaps
There
he
is in
wanted to
fact
stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
there is in fact an ending that you can find by purely
Stanley
starting at a
felt
random
lightheaded,
location.
butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to
That it literally has a room just
Stanley
called
took the
Whiteboard,
first
and
elevator
that's an
on his
ending
left.
apparently. All right, we did everything there, I think.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
But that is not what we are going to do.
But Stanley didn't want to go back.
This is the start of the
He wanted to
confusion
wander
ending.
about and get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go from here. It's Oh no, it's to the right. My mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
What was I thinking?
It's clearly. Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
It's gonna be that door on the right. That
Now, let's see.
panel, I think it's called.
Right, left,
Left,
down,
left, right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. I've got it now. This story is
It's
absolutely,
definitely this way. Apparently that's for all the people who invert.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay. From the top.
And it is now part 2 of the confusion ending. I will not split it in the chapters. It's just gonna be like
All
this.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This damn the input receive button, it will forever haunt me.
When Stanley... Wait.
Wait,
What? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Or did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere?
No, sir, I did not.
Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
Now, whatever you're in a maze, you want to go through all. You want to do all lefts, I think, or all rights. We're gonna do all rights. Not alt right, which is horrible, but all rights. Now we can't go through that door, and that just leaves back to where we were.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Part 3 of the confusion ending.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm still trying to find the input receive computer. It might not be here anymore. Oh well. I guess that we won't do that ending, if it even is an ending.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong.
I'm gonna
It's
skip
possible
my...
the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna get a old document ready, or yeah, tab ready. So,
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations!
I put up that.
I know you put in a lot of hard work.
I put in that
and it
tab.
really paid off.
So
good job. Oh no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
all right. This will be the last right door ending, I think. Yeah.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
We're gonna finish all the
You
right.
see, the line
I'm talking. We're gonna finish the right door endings, and then we're gonna go to the left door endings. Okay.
knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa.
Oh, hang on.
That got a
Put
bit
the
weird
back.
back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a
No!
bit of music.
Copyright! Da 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 da. Yeah, this game can get very weird with its spacing. And it just never happens again. Okay. That room no longer exists.
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
That's a very nice fern. Weird fact about ferns. Ferns do not actually do the whole germination thing. They have spores. Those produce more ferns. Anyway. Let us continue.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? No, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart. You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Oh, that sounds like a good idea. We do have
Now,
two more
this is
endings.
exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, this game also, like I said before, this game does mess with time and
Oh,
space.
no, not you
Or
again.
mostly space,
Stanley,
like any
I'd
chamber.
also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Apparently it has the power to break ceilings. That's nice to know.
A choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse
So you guys
door
like Barry Manilow?
here.
Barry Manilow is
And that
cool.
in turn
Anyway.
means that our destination
Corresponds
corresponds
with
with
the
the
counter-inverted reverse door's origin.
So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic.
But I like
Come,
this
Stanley,
circle.
our destiny awaits.
Sure, I guess. But weird thing is,
Hold up, what's this?
they both lead to the same place.
The confusion ending.
Nonsense, philosophy, and music.
That's what this is. It's all one giant ending. And we're supposed to restart the game what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all
Determined.
So now, according to the schedule, I
Will I
restart
restart?
again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle?
No,
The,
we did not.
whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay.
11 seconds.
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree?
Hang on, I'm doing
Quite
that.
sure if we're in the destination or the journey. Though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Yeah, that got a bit of a jump scare out of me the first time I played it. Anyway, there's 2 mornings left on
all of his co-workers
right
were
door.
gone. What could it mean?
So we're gonna do
Stanley
this.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
There
When Stanley
isn't.
came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it.
I'm
perfectly.
trying to
Perhaps he wanted to
spare.
stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Okay, before I go in there, I would just like to say, the achievements in this game are quite hilarious.
The last
One of them is not playing the game for 5 years, or leaving it running for all of a Tuesday. I haven't got those.
lounge was
I could
grand
only
and
imagine why.
majestic. Perhaps too much. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh, I got stuck on that.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it. Come on. I'm sure you'll survive the jump. Don't tell me you're scared. That's not the Stanley I know. Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it!
You are so...
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong.
How clumsy of me. Game's ending. No. There is another ending on the right door, which is actually playing the baby game for 4 hours. But I'm not going to do that. Or maybe I will and just leave it,
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the...
and maybe just like, what's the word? Just add my auto clicker onto it, and then, let it run for 4 hours, and then come back at the end of the 4 hours, or maybe like 3 hours, 59 minutes, on like Tuesday or something, and, that'll be that ending. That will be completely separate from this video, though.
And Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
So, we're not doing that
And
now.
here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I'm getting quite bored of you. I don't want to hear you anymore,
Stanley
narrator.
following directions. It's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
So it turns
Look,
out it's
Stanley,
not
I
called the
think perhaps
disco.
we've gotten off on the wrong
It's
foot
not
here.
called the disco.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Alright, Mr.
Oh,
Narrator.
thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Oh. Apparently that's a loading screen.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with... No, wait. Where are you going?
Oh, that's a wall.
Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
I'm gonna call you Simon. Because you sound like
Please,
Simon
no,
Lane.
Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. No! Oh, no. No, no. What are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
You won't know.
Stanley, let's go back. My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Weird thing is that this would probably kill me in real life in one go. Also, I've just realized how messed up this is. Down.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Well, Zending variably. Hang on, I'm reading a chart. So
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
I'm sorry I'm not talking much. I don't have much to say. I'm still looking for that input computer. Alright. For the rest of this video, we're going to go left.
When Stanley came to a
Like
set of two
this.
open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I wish we still had the cheat ending.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to it. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet.
I am a very
He wasn't
patient
even doing
individual.
anything.
I'm gonna go turn on
At
my
least if
light.
there was something to interact with, he'd be
Enjoy
justified
the
in some
neighborhood.
way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Well, please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favourite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
What friends?
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort...
No, I'm just very stubborn.
The responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer.
I'm just gonna
Making
run the
they
clock out.
understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. Alright, when you've done that,
Just step out into the hallway. No. I'm gonna see if there's more dialogue.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do it. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
I'm just listening.
He thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
He was not okay.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Like I said, he was not okay.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, And in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that
There's
day.
been a murder.
Very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Anyway. Alright. This is one of the secret endings that you can do.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle
crap.
the pressure.
Begin the game again. We're doing this outside the room. Ding! The Facepunch ending. That's
Stanley decided
really
to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others.
That
So the
is-
thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
This is really the entire ending. It's just this joke. Anyway. 419. Options. Back. Quit to menu. Options. Extras. Back. Alright. Let us test this. I have actually no clue what I'm doing when it regards to this. So I'm gonna see on the wiki what it is, and door endings. We'll get back to the actual endings. Preach. Oh. Hang on. We actually have to restart the game. So, confirm. Manage. Add to favorite properties. Play. Okay. Apparently, you had to go into the actual launch options to actually... There we go. Unknown command. Begin the game. And now... and now...
This is the...
And now we shall get the cheat ending. Oh.
Stanley, this is me being serious. In fact, this is my serious room. It's where I come to be serious. That table is the most serious table I could find. Whoa! Did we not have the talk? Are we not in the serious room this very...
I'm just gonna speed through it.
Still no...
It appears we've run out of dialogue options. Begin the game again. Alright.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder...
Nope. That's not helping the anxiety.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it?
419, 423, 434. 434 doesn't have it, so 419, 423. My desk or 19. Ding. Alright. while we do that, let's go up.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yeah, that following thing does not help my
Yet there was
anxiety.
not a single
Does
person
not.
there either.
I am
Feeling a wave of
terrified.
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping in.
And thus, we have the escape pod ending. We are an hour and a half into this. Oh well. You'll see what I'm talking about. So, we get a few moments to ourselves. It's currently 8:21. My time when I'm recording this, we're currently a minute 26, or an hour and 26 into this. If we were a minute 26, we'd have a very different story on our hands. The first question would be, where did all the footage I was recording go? The second would be, well, now what do I do? But you see this door is open. It was not open. And it leads into a loading screen. You are now leaving. I don't think the narrator actually narrates this ending, so we're just gonna have we have some more time to ourselves. So we're probably gonna be doing the second piece of Ace Attorney sometime this week, the week of May 1st, 2022. And then after that, it's probably going to be some the Minecraft Roblox Let's Plays I've recorded. I just haven't uploaded them yet. And maybe after that would be me doing some music rankings because I like music. We just have to make it to Escape Pod, which I don't remember what it said it was on. So I wish there was, lighting. But there isn't. So hopefully it's on 760. Maybe we'll do some FNAF or Baldi's Basics. There it is, Escape Pod Launch Bay. I'm doing this backwards, just in case it wasn't hard enough to tell. I think that's the end of it. Oh, yeah, there it is. And that's the end of that. Alright. Time to check the...
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Go. If you get 4 in there, you get a secret ending. So, yay. This will probably be a 2-hour video. Alright, let's find...
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors.
We'll do
He
Secret
entered the door
Disco
on his left.
and Bomb Ending in one, I guess.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Yes, yes I did. There's actually something in... What? Okay, apparently this is an ending. I don't... Oh. It does something. it does something. Incidental elevator music. Yeah, it actually does something. Okay. They whispered still. Hopefully there isn't a jump scare. That was an interesting experience. Alright, let's actually go do the secret disco thing.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it... Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
I should try
Being
slowing.
soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
I should try putting some, a slowdown tempo to two midis I have flying around. You know, maybe it'll do something positive. Slow down Tool songs. Oh god, they're already long. I can only imagine them longer.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
We have 9 minutes to do the rest, to do the last 3.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
That's nuts.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Going up and split. Oh, can we go back? Is what they're saying.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so
Don't
many
think we can go
individuals
back.
reduced to images on a
Well, we'll
screen.
do the bomb ending.
Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
We're gonna turn this into a disco real quick. Oh, or not.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
I guess we can't. Oh well.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
I don't know about you, but I do need some pretzels, so.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh, dear me. What's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Well, you seem like a douche anyway. So, a few more inputs received and the museum ending. Alright.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
God, I hope I didn't miss it with my own.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
I like how he's continue on. Just, you know, trudging on, despite everything that's happened. I have to chapter everything, which means I have to watch this all again to write down the timestamps.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an coming to a staircase. Stanley
That was an
walked
interesting
upstairs
elevator,
to
huh?
his boss's office.
It should be one. That. Then what we do?
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Or, okay, don't. The only achievement I made this entire run is literally, this is an achievement. Good for you. I didn't even get, like, the whole, ask regarding, I didn't even get the whole jazz regarding the,
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
I love horror games, don't you?
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Nah.
At this point,
Don't feel.
Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Load screen, okay.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what
Okay.
this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
This is the museum ending. It shows the museum game. Or it shows like all the tidbits. It's like that Andrew Chamber ending. As you can see here. But this was all very well and good. And so we shall find the last ending we have yet to do, the heaven ending, or the whiteboard ending. Nothing there.
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. What do you call it, guys?
Okay. It turns out it requires 5 inputs. That's okay. We'll just get a meaningless game over.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way
Let's
to
get a
the meeting room, and
let's get a
Stanley
meaningless
knew it
ending,
well.
and then we'll
Perhaps
go
he wanted
back,
to
get the
stop
last
the
one, and then we'll do the
employee
heaven
lounge
ending.
just a
And hopefully,
moment.
at some point in this almost 2-hour video,
Yes,
we have
truly a
not
room
reached the
worth
whiteboard yet.
admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the
Sorry I
first
didn't
open door
spend
on his
as much
left.
time on the cheat ending as anyone would have liked to get all like the narration out of it, but
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
No, it doesn't even fit. All the buttons to push. That's the entire ending. Let's see if we can get that whiteboard ending. Godspeed. I guess we're just gonna secretly begin the game again until we get the different office. Well, this is promising. Or not. We're gonna be here for a while, I assume. We don't need that anymore. Okay, apparently OBS does not track changes in my quality. That's okay. So yeah, we're just gonna be sitting here waiting until begin game again hits new office. There, you know, the blue thing. Hopefully it's within the next 5. There you go.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This is it. This is the last ending. Anyway, I'll be seeing you at some point in the next week. Bye.